In my garden, I have a life-size statue of myself astride a unicorn.
Seems reasonable enough, David.
Where do you get one? I mean,
it was
I want
prop
one.
from a show. A prop from a show I did. It's not made of stone, it's made from polystyrene or something, but it's been painted. It's a bit weather-worn now.
And what was the show?
It was it was a New Year's Eve thing for Channel 4, Hello 1993 or something.
Well, why did Hello 1993 need a statue of you on a unicorn?
Well, it was the 90s.
You touch it up every now and again, every spring, give it a repaint, or...
I have a man for that sort of thing.
Oh, right.
You don't have to touch up its horn yourself?
No.
Did you ask for the unicorn, or was that forced on you?
Well, it was part of the set. You know, like you have these sort of bumper car things for this set.
Yes, I see that.
When this comes to an end, you may want to take one of those home. Same.
I'd like to have this in my house, and I'd like to address my wife from it every night. On to round 3, foreplay, and if you get through that, who knows what might happen. So it's in the garden. Is it part of a water feature? Is it on a lawn?
It's on a plinth, on a a few bricks.
A few bricks.
Which is it? A plinth or a few bricks? Because when cars have had their wheels taken, they don't say, "Oh, look, that car's on a plinth."
Well, I call it a plinth.
How nice.
What do you think then, David?
Yes, what do you think, Ronnie?
I think it might be a lie.
Really?
Would it be in the garden for this long, I asked myself.
Well, it could... I mean, it could be in a bit of a state.
Seriously
by now.
dilapidated.
Yeah. A sort of a decaying image of yourself on you. That'd be quite a reminder of your own mortality on top of a mythical beast.
I have a similar thing in my house. It's called a mirror. So what are you going to say, David?
I think it's true. I thought it was true from the first time we said it. I didn't need any backup.
You think it's a lie?
I think it's true.
I think it's a lie.
Well, I think on balance, I think it's true.
OK, David's saying it's true. Julian, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie?
It was a lie.
Oh.
Yes, it's a lie. Julian doesn't have a life-size statue of himself astride a unicorn in his garden. The traditional method for hunting a unicorn is for a fair maiden to sit alone upon the grass, and after a time the unicorn will approach. This is also the traditional method for catching flashes.
I have a didgeridoo suspended from a tree in my back garden so that when the wind blows in a particular direction, it pops soothing sounds of the outback into my bedroom window.
David's team, what do you think?
Pops soothing sounds of the outback.
Yes.
What a poetic way of putting it.
Thank you.
Do you genuinely believe that that particular instrument makes a harp?
How would you describe it, Greg? And how soothed do you feel?
Right, everyone stop harping.
I get this every night in my house, please.
Where is it, Bob? It's in a tree.
Yeah.
And you made a conscious decision to put it in the tree?
Yeah.
I thought you said it was hanging from a tree.
What it is it's trapped in a V. I was like, is there a name for that area of a tree? Is it called the Clooney or something?
It's called it...
Clooney?
What's the not to believe George Clooney's holding a didgeridoo at Madrid in his garden? Why don't you believe this?
This part of your finger there is called the Clooney.
Is it?
So I'm assuming...
I never knew
That's
that.
why I said Clooney. I know it's the Clooney. Where it... And it's wedged there.
It's wedged in the tree's V.
Yes, it's wedged horizontally in the tree's V, facing southeast, which is the prevailing wind where I live.
Where do you live? Not Britain.
Britain.
No, the prevailing wind in Britain is southwesterly.
It doesn't happen every night.
So tell us what this sound does for you, then. You're lying in bed at night and you've had a lovely day, you're just settling down, and you hear... And then what happens to you?
I'm soothed. The mind is soothed. Do you know you get things that will do the same thing to, say, your throat?
Yes.
That does it to the mind.
What if your brain's fine? You don't want to hear that every time it's windy.
You're always soothing your brain. That's what sleep is.
Hence the success of the pillow.
Yeah.
Can I just say, though, Bob, I've been led to believe by out-of-work hippies over the years that the didgeridoo is an incredibly difficult instrument to play, and yet it would appear that all one has to do is to pass air through it.
No, well, you have to position it correctly, just as you would have to over your mouth. I've done that by utilising the Clooney of a tree.
You're using the Clooney of a tree as human lips. Even to get any kind of noise out of a didgeridoo, the Clooney, which it doesn't exist, on Bob's tree, would have to be flesh-like, because Aboriginal doesn't just go through it, because it's not just wind, they use their lips.
Very good point. Very good point. Just coming up this time of year, I admit it's a lot better. In fact, I have a wisteria that grows through the didgeridoo.
Of course.
And when the wisteria comes into leaf, not only does it pipe the wind towards the didgeridoo, but it acts as the lips.
It's long been said that if the wind blows in the right direction through wisteria, it can play any instrument in the world.
It's time to decide, David.
OK, we need to make a guess.
What are you going to say?
I think it's a lie.
Of course it's a lie.
We think it's a lie.
I think it's a lie. Well, Bob, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie?
I was lying.
At the bottom of my garden, I've built a replica Stonehenge.
Please, team.
How big is this Stonehenge?
Yeah.
In relation to the real Stonehenge?
Big enough.
What's it made out of?
Stone.
Stone. What type of stone?
Can I just check, how big is this Stonehenge?
I would say probably half the size of the original.
That's still massive.
Wow.
So why?
Well,
Around?
my garden faces south. And I think if you've got a nice-sized garden, you've got to have a reason to walk to the end of it.
Here's a question. The great mystery of Stonehenge is how they did it. How did they get the stones on top? It's never been solved. How did you get yours on top?
Yeah, a crane.
Oh, yeah.
How did the crane get in the garden?
I've got a little road that runs up the side of the garden.
That's handy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who did you get to do it for you?
Eh?
Who did you... Don't give yourself time to think. The old classic would I lie to you, hey?
Yeah.
Hey?
Sorry, I'm a bit...
Could you say it again, Lee, but really slowly? Give me a minute.
Sorry, Lee, say that again.
Yeah. Who made it for you? Who did the building work?
If I remember right, his name was Peter.
Do you use it for anything?
Well, I always thought if one of my girls got married, you know, one day...
That is one confident boyfriend that's going to come round and say, Mr. Winston, I'd like to marry your daughter.
What? Well, he wouldn't talk like that, would he?
So what do you think, Lee? Is this true?
It can't be true.
I think it's
No,
so weird.
not for me,
if
no.
that's true. It's so
I think it's a load of old codswallop.
We're definitely saying a lie to
You're saying it's a lie. Ray Winston, truth or lie?
It's true.
Oh, my God!
Yes, it's true. Ray has built a replica Stonehenge at the bottom of his garden. And we have a picture. There it is.
One Saturday morning, I lay on my back in the garden and pretended I'd fallen off a ladder so that I could get out of a family trip to IKEA.
David's team.
What had you been supposedly doing on the ladder to fall off it?
So, my wife said we're going to IKEA, and then you should be upset if I said no. So I said, yeah, no problems. Can we go in about an hour? She went, yeah, no problems. Why? And I said, because I've got to do something in the garden.
Yeah, what were you doing?
Trimming the tree.
So you said, OK, we can go to IKEA in an hour. I've just got to go and trim the tree.
I didn't say I'm going to trim the tree, obviously. I said I've just got something to do in the garden.
Why is it so urgent that this tree needed to be trimmed?
You're not following this story, are you, Sean? I didn't need to trim the tree.
Yeah, but surely wouldn't she go, we'll do it later?
Because it was a casual conversation. We're going to IKEA. Can we go in about an hour? I've just got to do something in the garden. She went, yeah, fine. And that was it. Right. We don't live in a relationship where I go, can we go to IKEA? I go, can we go now? I'm doing something in the garden. She doesn't sit me down, put a spotlight on me, and go, just a sing in the garden.
OK.
But you did topiary last week!
So you say you've got to do something in the garden. She says fine. So you walk out into the garden.
Yes. Go to the
Explain how
shed.
you set the scene.
I go to the shed, right?
Yeah.
I pick my tool wisely because I want to make sure that when I've fallen with it, that it looks dramatic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So what did you
Bit of
pick?
secateurs, nothing. Those big giant ones. Do you know which one I mean? They look like those old-fashioned bull workers with a pair of scissors at the end.
With the telescopic handles.
That's one. I still needed a ladder. They're not going to get me on that.
Do you climb to the top of this ladder?
Well,
you actually...
I don't need to, do I? There's no trimming to
So no-
be done. I mean, are you fucking... Anyone else?
So you can't.
There's no... I'm not Robert De Niro. I'm not Method. I didn't have to go. I must become the tree trimmer.
Your wife must think you're pretty bad at it if you can go out and presumably instantly fall off the
I
ladder.
didn't say I fell off instant. I know she's going off to do something
Well, they're not
else.
to
She
notice.
says I'm going to the shops then. So I know she's out. So I position
So
everything.
she says in advance of going to this shop, she is going to the shop.
No, it's an expression that people say I'm just popping to the shops. They don't go, I pop into the
No, it's
individual
not
shop.
an expression. It means going to the shop.
No, it doesn't.
What is it? A euphemism in your house for what? Having a poo.
I pop into the shop.
Is it
You're
a
going to get me on one letter. All right, I pop into the shop.
She said she was popping to the shop now. Shop singular in advance of your trip to the shop.
She might have said shop. It's one letter. Give me a break. It's series 9. She may have said shop.
Can I ask a
Or
question?
shops. I'm just popping out. In fact, she said out. I'm popping out.
She's popping.
She was popping out.
So. OK, so she has left the house.
She's left the house.
So
She's
you know
gone to
you've
the
got.
shop. To buy a curly whirly or curly whirlies. I'm not sure. She's gone out. I know she's going to be gone enough time for me to get a ladder, lie it on its side, do the secateurs, and lie there in the position that I would describe as
Can I ask
injured.
this question? Why didn't you want to go to IKEA?
I think I'd go to IKEA to get out of trimming a tree.
I didn't need to trim the tree.
So your wife comes back from the shop before going to the shop, for whatever reason.
And we find that, weirdly, that the different shops sell different things.
Okay.
So I have tried the old, when she goes, I'm just going to buy some potatoes, I've gone, why don't we wait till we're in IKEA? She said, no, you can't buy. It turns out that different shops sell different things.
So your wife comes back from the potato shop to
No, it's not called the potato shop.
You finished trimming the tree and fallen off a ladder.
Yes.
How much of the tree did you get done?
Did you claim specific injuries that you'd done? When you
Yes.
said, oh, I've just generally hurt us, what? What had you done? What did you say it hurt?
I went, ah! My leg! She went, what's up with it? I said, I don't know, but I can't go to IKEA. And I claim to have injured my coccyx.
How long had she been gone?
It was probably 4 or 5 days this time. I'd say probably about 15 to 20 minutes.
Did she still go to IKEA?
Yeah, no, what did she do then? You're there in agony.
She came to help me.
She helped you up.
She helped me up. She tried to get me stood up. I held the base of my back. Is that what the coccyx is?
Yeah.
I held the base of my back.
Yeah.
And she said, you better come inside and sit yourself down. I said, but what about the trip to IKEA? I feel I've let you down. She said, no, that was years ago. I think the bit where I was pushing it, when I shouted, love, can you put that ladder away? I don't want it to go rusty. I might need that in a couple of weeks when we go to Boots.
So what do you think, David? Is this true?
What do you think?
I think it's a lie.
I just think you'd save that for something a bit more...
You think it's a waste?
Well, yeah, it's a waste of an opportunity to get out of something.
I love the fact
like
that
a family Christmas, you could get out of a whole Christmas.
So what are you going to say?
I think we think it's a lie.
You're saying it's a lie. Lee, truth or lie?
It's a lie.
It's a lie. Lee didn't pretend he'd fallen off a ladder to get out of a family trip to IKEA.
I recently shooed a fox out of the garden by squirting it with water. 5 minutes later, I watched in horror as it returned with its brother and ate my plimsoll.
Please, team. What do you think?
I've never heard anything so middle class in all my life.
I'm on
to picture it. So you're in your house and you see the fox in the garden. Now, you don't, with the greatest respect, you don't strike me as overly nimble.
No, I'm not overly nimble, but I'm just nimble enough.
Between 1 and 10, how quickly were you in the garden?
I went out in the garden at top speed for me,
Yeah.
which I'm afraid is now 6.7.
Anyway, you come out into the garden, you've got the hose, you see the fox.
And he sort of moves away a bit, shows a certain degree of fear of the alpha predator. He sees me and he thinks, "Do you know, I think I'm safe with this guy." And I thought, well, I can't have this. I can't have the fox thinking it's one. If I lose my power to frighten off foxes, what am I?
Can I answer that?
So I grab my hose and I swizzle some water at them. I don't want to soak the poor creature.
Did you put your thumb on the end?
So I did put my thumb on the end, and I directed some water sort of towards the lawn, just kind of between him and me.
Yeah.
And that's enough. He's off.
I bet he went, after the fox went off, I bet he went.
Yeah.
I forgot he hadn't turned it off. Looked round sheepishly and thought, better get those plimsolls.
Are you in your pyjamas?
I was wearing normal clothes.
Well, David, we've got a different opinion on what normal clothes
Yes,
Did you?
It was black tie, not white tie.
So, in a nutshell, you had a fox in your garden, you come out, water the thing out the garden, then a little while later, it comes back.
2 of them come back.
2 of them.
Now, where are you at this point?
I'm in the kitchen.
Right.
Noticing they've come back to the garden, thinking, dear, oh dear.
There was deer there as well.
and then one of the foxes goes and grabs this plimsoll that I keep by the shed.
Why?
For walking around the garden.
One plimsoll?
What? No, there's 2. I keep 2.
Tiny suggestion, why don't you keep the plimsolls near the back door so you don't have to get your feet wet if it's raining?
Well, you're full of home improvement ideas. I don't know, because I'm a moron.
What happens to the plimsoll?
One of them savages this shoe.
What's the other one doing?
I don't know. I don't speak fox.
If you want to do a proper impression of a fox, I know a woman. Providing you're a tad gullible, will show you exactly. So go on. So
I said, "Hello, Mr. Fox. I'm trying to communicate with you. Perhaps you could stop pooing on my lawn."
Right, Lee, what are you thinking?
Fundamentally, no Englishman leaves a pair of plimsolls as his garden footwear and keeps them by a shed.
So you're saying it's
a lie.
It's a lie?
Yeah, I think it's a lie.
Well, I'll go with my team, even though I think it's true.
Saying it's a lie. OK, David. Squirting foxes in the garden, truth or lie?
It is a lie.
I thought it was a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. David didn't squirt water at a fox only for it to return and eat his plimsoll.
As a kid, my parents denied me chocolate, so every Easter, I had to run around the garden and hunt the Easter onion.
The Easter onion, yes. David, where'd you begin?
Them were the days.
Why were you denied chocolate?
It's not good for you, is it?
And why did you hunt an onion? Why didn't you just say, "I don't give a damn where that onion is. It's not a treat"?
Well, you do what you're told to do, innit? As a kid.
So you would look for the onion, and you would find the onion, and you would say...
I'd say, da ist die Zwiebel.
What?
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 Well, there is, in Germany, it's saying, there's the onion.
What would happen then?
Then I would hold it aloft. And...
like the World Cup. And at what point in your family's Easter celebrations would the onion hunt occur?
Well, when on Easter Sunday.
On Easter Sunday, in the morning on Easter Sunday...
I would be out in the garden.
So, but before your parents were up, you were already out there.
Henning, do you get on with your parents?
Very well, yeah.
Are they nice?
Yeah, I mean, my father is dead, but he was... He was a really jolly fella, and yeah, my mother is all right, yeah.
I'm glad you didn't do the speech at the funeral.
Once you track the onion down, Henning, would you tuck into it?
Yeah, you have a bite.
Raw?
So,
of course.
So you're very pleased, you held the onion aloft, and then you took a bite out of it.
I do feel like you're more enchanted by onions than we are.
But they mean a lot to me because I knew Easter Sunday it was time to go in the garden and hunt the Easter onion.
What are you thinking, Rachel?
I was half believing him until the biting into it.
They're quite solid, aren't they? It's like a tennis ball, isn't it?
Yeah.
The thing is, I can bite into an onion because I wasn't allowed chocolate. That means my teeth are good.
Yeah.
Would your mother and your father, when he was alive, would they share the experience?
He would occasionally bite in an onion.
You'd hold it aloft, they'd say, well done, little Henning, and they'd all... Look what Henning has done. And then... He's holding it aloft, quick! Get the camera! And then... Would they also tuck into the onion?
He was. Just thinking of that onion makes me eyes water.
What do you think? Is that truth?
What do you think?
Well, even though he started crying at the memory, I don't... They're crocodile tears.
He does seem very moved, doesn't he?
What do you think, Alex?
I hope it's true, but I think it's not.
I think it's a lie.
It's a lie. You're saying it's a lie. Henning, did the Easter Bunny bring an onion?
Sadly, it's a lie.
On a dark winter's night, I once broke into the garden of the local witch's house and was shocked by what I found there.
David, Steve.
OK, at what point...
There's a lot of questions, isn't there?
At what point in your life did this happen?
I'm going to guess somewhere between when I was 11 and 13.
12?
I'm going to say 12.
And you say the local witch's house. What do you mean by that?
I mean, this is a very distant memory now.
OK.
It was the house, not very far from me, where all the kids said that the witch lived.
And who did live there?
I don't know their name.
Right.
I'll call them Mary Candles. It had hedges at the front, you know, it's like uncut hedges, a front gate covered with hedging, and it said on the front gate, it said simply the words, "No thanks."
No, really?
So that's quite creepy, isn't it?
Can I ask a question? You started that with saying you were shocked by what you saw there.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, so shocked by what I found there.
So what did you find there?
I'm not comfortable with telling you that just yet. Sorry, I'm not.
This is going so far, it's got to be a lie, isn't it?
Let me just say, it does not have to be a lie. Whatever he says, however absurd, it could still be true. However plausible, it could still be a lie. It's just, essentially, what we are doing for this section is entirely futile. We will talk for a bit, then we will guess, then it will be over.
So how did you come to go into this house? Who were you with?
I was with, what's he called? I was with Ken Numbers. I changed it, yeah. Ronnie Calculator's son. The vibe is, it's very unkempt, it's the gardening, because as we all know, Lee, yeah, witches hate gardening, and wizards hate plumbing. Right? So we knew it was a female residence.
Right. So you'd never seen Mary Candles, but you were only speculating it must be a witch rather than a wizard because it was an unkempt garden with no sign of deficient plumbing.
Exactly. And, you know, we wanted to be the first people who said, no, we penetrated, you know, its boundaries.
Yeah.
We went into the front lawn, down a gate to the side, past the bins, past the back door, yeah, and then to the window where there was a light on, a big picture window, looked inside, and that's when we saw this extraordinary sight. Well, extraordinary to us as 12-year-olds.
What was it? You've got to say.
It was a tiny, tiny horse. And I'm not saying it was watching television, that was all that was in the room, was a tiny horse and a television on. I did get in the house.
You got in the house?
Yes, Mrs. Candles came out.
Right.
Yes, and she said to me, you're one of the Mortimer boys, aren't you?
Were you?
Yeah. So Ken said. And she said, would you like to come in and see the horse? And she took us in, and it stank of paraffin. It was hot.
That's horse?
Hot. No, that was the house.
I think the horse stunk of paraffin.
The horse did stink, actually.
Did he?
Yeah.
Of?
Meat, hot meat. As we were looking at the horse, I always remember this, she came in, and she had a toilet seat in her hand. And she said, if I give you some money, do you think you could get rid of this for me?
What did you do with it?
Just threw it on our way home, just threw it somewhere else, I imagine.
Did she say what the horse's name was?
Max.
Yes. You'd have thought minimum.
All right, well, now, Suggs, what are you thinking about this?
I mean, you know, it's so preposterous, but David's flung me by saying this is the way he carries on anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, same.
I mean, but no, I'm saying lie, of course.
You say it's a lie.
It was when you said the horse smelt like hot meat.
Well, do you remember the detail of the paraffin heaters?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
We're talking 40, maybe 50 degrees there with those old...
40 or 50 degrees centigrade. So we're talking like the temperature of the desert in Saudi Arabia.
Did you ever see Mary Candles again?
No, never.
Never saw her again?
Never saw her again.
She probably melted in that heat.
All right, what are you going to say then, David?
Do we think lie?
I think it's a lie. I think it's a lie.
I think it is a lie.
All right, they're saying it's a lie. Now, we should bear in mind that when it comes to Bob, David has a very poor track record. Let's see if he can be better tonight. Bob, truth or lie?
I was telling the truth.
No! It's true. Bob really did break into a creepy garden.
OK. As a child, I struck up a friendship with the 9 men who lived in my garden.
Please, Tim.
Who were the 9 men that lived in your garden?
So they were gardeners. Which sounds weird, but in Zimbabwe, for your gardeners to live in your garden, it's not a big deal because there's so much space for them.
So how big was this garden?
It was huge.
I mean, in acreage.
What, 40 acres?
40
Is that
acres?
a lot?
Is it a lot?
At the time, I was a child, so I was interested in things like Pokemon, not acreage.
I was interested in acreage.
If they lived there, at what point do they become not gardeners, but tenants?
So they provided services, right? So gardening, they were singing gardeners.
They were what?
They discovered they had a talent for harmonising.
Right.
So they would sing whilst gardening.
What were their names?
Yes.
OK, listen.
And if you say dopey and sneezy, etc., you're going to run out.
OK, one of them was called Clever. One of them was called Blessing. I can't remember the others. But what I do remember is my dad, I'm his only son, so I'm his pride and joy, OK? Right. This man would do anything...
you're his only son.
OK. I knew that he would rely on me to give him the word on the ground as to which gardeners should we get rid of. It's a lot of people to pay.
Ah. So he basically only wanted a couple, but he thought start with 9, get it down to 2, and they're the full-time gardeners. How old are you at this time?
It's like maybe 8, 9.
So did you whittle it down to 2 gardeners for your dad?
Eventually whittled it down to 1.
To 1?
Because one day I had a catapult and one of the gardeners was reading the Bible. I took a fruit. It was like a cherry, but orange.
Oh, an orange?
No, it was... It was as small as a cherry.
Oh,
so
right.
I take this
Tangerine.
cherry. Let me land.
A kumquat.
A kumquat. So, shot the kumquat, and it hit him at the back of the head. And he then went to my dad and said, look, this is what your son has done to me. So eventually we ended up with 1, and his name was Blessing. So it turns out to be the complete right
Do
name
anything
for
to him, hit him with a rounder's bat, didn't mind.
Yeah.
And you said they sung, they could harmonise.
Until 8 of them got fired, and then it was Blessing singing on his own. Covered in bruises.
What are you thinking, Alice?
I don't believe it. That seems like a very, very ornate tissue of lies to me.
What about you, Bob?
You wielded a lot of power as an 8-year-old.
He did, didn't he?
Weapons testing on your staff and...
I mean, he doesn't come out of it well, does he?
But I changed. I'm a changed man.
Right, what's it going to be?
I say true.
We'll say it's true.
You're going to say that it's true. OK, Munya, was it true or was it a lie?
Well, it was indeed true.
Yes, it's true.